Hey guys, it's Rebecca. So today I'm going to be giving you some recommendations that will go along with the prompts for the Join the 6th readathon that is coming from the 27th of July to the 5th of August. Basically, the concept of the readathon is that you audition for the band 6 from Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have a part 1 of this video, which will be my previous video up on my channel, so I'll link that above and you can go and check that out. So I'll be talking about the second half of the prompts today and just giving you some extra recommendations that will go along with a lot of the prompts. Basically, if you don't know, you have to complete 3 of the prompts from one of the instrument sections, or else you can just pick one book or more from the crowd or fan section, which will get you to basically be like a #1 fan, or it will get you qualified to get like a backstage pass. So you don't actually have to have read all of these books or anything, you just pick one section that you would like to complete. But if you do pick an instrument section, then you have to pick at least one instrument that you do all 3 prompts for, but you can also pick ones from extra instruments, like however many amount, and then you'd be qualified to play extra instruments, but you have to stick to at least all 3 prompts of one instrument, if that makes sense. You can go and watch my announcement video above. I'll also link the channels of the co-hosts down below so you can go and watch their announcements videos too. We also have a few giveaways going on. There's one over on Twitter and one on Instagram at Join the 6 is our handle. I'll also link that below and you can go and check that out. It's to win any book of your choice from Book Depository. So anyway, with all of that, the point is I'm going to be recommending some books that you could choose for your prompts. So I'm going to get right into talking about the books. So the first section I'll be talking about today is the keyboard. So if you want your audition to play the keyboard, then you must complete these prompts. And the first one is the keys are black and white, read a book with black and white on the cover. So it sounds silly, but the first book I actually don't really like, but that is Carfile by Stephanie Garber. Obviously it has white on the cover. It's a black and white book. I couldn't actually find any books that are like black and white. This is like the closest thing that I have, which is really strange. I have other ones that are kind of bland looking classics, but I just feel like that doesn't count. So many people enjoy this book. I'll just read like the small bit on the back. It says, whatever you've heard about Carfile, it doesn't compare to the reality. It's more than just a game or a performance. It's the closest you'll ever find to magic in this world. So yeah, basically it's like fantasy, it involves magic. It basically distorts reality and you have to like play the game. The main character's sister goes missing and she has to play the game to find her. That's basically what the book's about as far as I can remember. I didn't really like it, but so many other people really enjoy it, and as I said, I couldn't actually find anything else. I know so many people enjoy it, so I thought it was worth pointing it out that this could be an option, because I know so many people are interested in reading this one, and I don't want to be like, just because I don't like it doesn't mean anybody else will. Like, so many people love it and it's definitely worth reading because I know it's up so many people's alleys. So the next section is Karen and Graham have their own love story, read a romance. So this next book is actually quite gothic and it is a classic, but that is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. This book is obviously not that small, and this has absolutely tiny writing because it's one of like the cheap Wordsworth editions. I really need a nicer edition of Jane Eyre. I really love Jane Eyre. Obviously it is a romance and it has a lot of mystery in it about like Mr. Rochester's past wife, and it goes through Jane's childhood until she becomes a governess for a child in a house owned by Mr. Rochester, who she eventually falls in love with, and it's just about that. It's heartbreaking and I absolutely love it. I think there's so many things that you can explore in this novel. There is loss and reunion, tragedy, and a lot of Jane having to cope with revelation about what is actually happening in the house. It's such a good novel. If you're into mysteries, if you're into romance, definitely go for it, and I think it's a great opportunity to read this. It's obviously such a well-known and well-loved novel, and it's a perfect opportunity to just really get into this book in a readathon. It might take you a while, not too long if you get stuck into it, because it's honestly amazing and I highly recommend this. So the next book is The Largest Piano Made Was 1.4 Tons, read a book that intimidates you. So I definitely know that a lot of people are generally intimidated by classics, but especially Charles Dickens I think people get intimidated by because his novels are so large. But I think that a great starting place is Great Expectations. This is one of my all-time favourite novels. It's basically about a young boy called Pip, and he's quite poor. He comes from a poor family, but one day he randomly inherits a fortune and nobody knows where it's come from. Nobody knows how he's inherited this money. He has his suspicions about who it's from, but basically he moves to London and it's his journey coming to be a gentleman and learning how to be be a gentleman, but along the way, like, he kind of loses his sense of self and loses what's important to him. All is revealed in the end, and it ties up so well and so beautifully, and it makes you laugh, it makes you cry. It's everything you could ever want in a novel, and you can get right into the characters and you just love them. You just love Pip and you love Joe so much. Honestly, I don't see anybody not liking this. Like, it just blows my mind how you could not like this novel. It is just an absolute masterpiece. Go and read this book. It's not intimidating once you get into it. Even though it's Charles Dickens, it's a smaller one than a lot of his other works, but I'm guaranteed that you will love this even if you're intimidated by classics. It's a great place to start with Charles Dickens. So the next section is drums, and if you're auditioning for drums then you must complete the following 3 prompts. So the first one is drums can be rather loud. Read a book with bold colours on the cover. I think there's a lot of books that you go for this, but right now I'm going to choose Warcross by Marie Lu. I know that the cover is like white but has like the bold colours in Warcross, and I just wanted to recommend this book because it's honestly amazing. It's one of my favourite YA books. I think it's so much fun. It is a perfect opportunity for me to recommend it. I don't actually have it on me right now because I lent it to my sister, but it's honestly such an amazing book. It's so much fun, and it's basically kind of futuristic version of our world. I don't think it's meant to be like too far in the future, and it's basically a world where technology has basically taken over how people do anything really. This person called Hideo Tanaka created a company called Henka Games, and he came up with, I thought there was like a big bird coming flying in. But anyway, he created Henka Games, which within Henka Games they created a game called Warcross. Basically it's like the most famous game in America or all over the world basically, and the main character Amika, she's actually a bounty hunter. She basically finds like criminals who are abusing this technology and doing illegal things that you shouldn't be doing, and she gets money obviously for finding them, and one day she accidentally hacks into the world champion Warcross games and she's invited to Japan by Hideo Tanaka, the creator of Henka Games, and it all goes from there. He asks her to work for him and it just all goes from there, and it's really good. I really love the romance. So yeah, I highly recommend Warcross. So the next prompt is you can feel the vibrations of drums in your chest. Read a book that you think will be hard hitting. So for this one I chose The Awakening by Kate Chopin. This is actually quite a short book. It's only 200-ish pages and it's a feminist modern classic. I read this for my English degree and it's honestly one of the best books that I've ever read. I'm gonna read the back out because I feel like it's the best way to describe it. So it's Kate Chopin's stories of frustrated lives and forbidden passions explored women's experiences in a way that had never been done before. This selection includes The Awakening, her novella of a married woman's sexual liberation that caused outrage on its publication at the end of the 19th century, as well as further tales of shocking revelations, brief pleasures and female relationships set in her home state of Louisiana and beyond. That basically is all you need to know about this novel. I think it is so well written and I just think it's so good, and this edition is just beautiful and it's so short and it's just, you can just feel this book. Kate Chopin is just such a beautiful way of storytelling. I don't think enough people talk about this book at all. Definitely try and get your hands on it, and since it's so short it's definitely the perfect opportunity for this book, and obviously it's a modern classic so you could double up for one of the other prompts. So the next prompt for the drums is the light catches on the golden symbols. Read a book with gold on the cover. So I recommended some books with gold on the cover in my last video, and also Caraval has gold on the cover, so you could definitely pick some books from my last recommendation video, or you could pick like Caraval. The book that I'm going to choose for this is actually the second book in a duology, but I chose Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. For some reason recently I've seen quite a lot of people talk about how they haven't actually started Crooked Kingdom, either because they don't want to finish the duology or because they just can't seem to get into it after reading Six of Crows. But trust me, go and read Crooked Kingdom if you like Leigh Bardugo at all. Read Six of Crows and read Crooked Kingdom if you haven't got to this yet, because it is better than Six of Crows. I think you already know the characters. Six of Crows is a lot of setup, but Crooked Kingdom, you already know the characters, you already love them, and it's your perfect opportunity to carry on with the duology. If you haven't, please read it. Please read it for the readathon. If not, read it. Just full stop, read it, because it's amazing. It's also a good chance to reread. I love Crooked Kingdom, I love Six of Crows, I love Leigh Bardugo in general, so go and read this if you haven't already. So the next section is crowd or fans. So basically all you need to do is complete one of these prompts in order to win like a backstage pass or your place as like a #1 fan. So you don't actually have needed to complete any of the other prompts to take part in one of these. You literally only need to read one of these books. If you're too burnt out after the reading rush or you just can't be bothered to take part in a readathon, I'm sure you'll be reading one book within these 10 days anyway, so there's not really an excuse not to join in. So anyway, I'm just going to recommend some of these books. So the first prompt in this section is read a book told in multiple perspectives. You could double up and choose Crooked Kingdom for this. You could also choose Six of Crows, but I decided to choose a really short book for this, and that is To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. This is one of my favourite books ever. I think it is so emotional and it's definitely hard hitting. It's another one you can double up for. It is beautiful. Virginia Woolf is a beautiful novel. It also has mental health rep. How are you? I'm doing a video. I'm doing a video. Okay, well the door's open so you can see, the door's open so you can go out if you want. Just going to read out what's on the back of this book because it's quite character driven. So this simple and haunting story captures the transience of life and its surrounding emotions. To the Lighthouse is the most autobiographical of Virginia Woolf's novels. It is based on her own early experiences, and while it touches on childhood and children's perceptions of desires, it is at its most trenchant when exploring adult relationships, marriage and the changing class structure in the period spanning the Great War. So yeah, this book is amazing. I love it so much and it's so short. It's literally more like a novella than a novel, to be honest. It's only like 150 pages. Anyone who hasn't read it needs to go and read it, and as I said, it does have mental health rep in it because Virginia Woolf herself actually struggled with bipolar disorder, and there's definitely some references to like struggling with mental illness in here. It's not directly said, but you can gather that it's trying to do that. Go and read it. He literally never sits up there, so I'm like so confused. Hello. Okay, so the next prompt is reread a favourite. No! No! Get down. The next prompt is reread, he's scaring me, reread a favourite. Obviously I can't recommend anything this to you, but reread whatever you really loved. The next one is read a book involving music or fandom. For this I actually couldn't think of another answer, but I recommended this in my part 1 video, and that is Geekerella by Ashley Poston. This does follow a girl who is a massive fangirl, and I didn't want to recommend Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell because I really hate that book, I'm not gonna lie, but Geekerella is amazing, and it basically just follows a girl. It's a retelling of Cinderella, and it follows this girl who is obsessed with this show, which is basically like a Star Trek kind of equivalent, and she ends up starting to text this stranger who actually, we follow his perspective. It's actually a really famous celebrity who's going to play one of the main characters in the new film adaptation of this series that she absolutely loves, and she finds out like who's playing him, and she's thinking, oh no, he's like the worst choice ever, yet no, she doesn't know that she's texting him. It's so good, and definitely recommend this. It's amazing, and go and read it. It's so fun, it's like fluffy, it's a perfect summer read and perfect for a readathon. Okay, so the last section is read a hype book, and for this I'm going to say Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I know this book definitely isn't short, but if you haven't read this yet, now is your perfect opportunity, because obviously it's so hyped and amazing, and even if you don't like fantasy, I'm nearly guaranteed you'll love this because it's just so good. Go and read it. Leigh Bardugo is one of the best YA writers in my opinion. I think she's absolutely amazing at building such complex characters. I think she's so good. It's about criminals, it has magic, it has unlikable likable characters, it has Cass Brecker in it, so go and read it because Cass Brecker is just the best character ever. I'm not going to go into much detail, everybody knows this is about a heist. Read Six of Crows now if you haven't. Okay, so that's it for this video. Definitely go and check out part 1, which I will have definitely linked above and also in the description. Also go and check out all the other co-hosts' channels and give our During the Six Instagram and Twitter a follow, please. We'd really love if you joined in with this readathon. We'd love to see what your TBR is. We'd love if you made posts about it and joined in, because we'll definitely be so interested in talking about all of the books that you're reading for it. My TBR video for it will be coming up later, like closer to the time, but for now, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you did enjoy this video, and I will see you in the next one.